Hi, my name is Steve Simpson, and this is the centerboard to my 14-foot Omega sailboat. And today's project will be to fill in the gap up here in the top of the board. And I'm going to use Marine-Tex putty to do that. So let's get set up on my work table, which is in my house with my wife's permission, because it's cooler in here than outside. We're in San Antonio, Texas, so outside's about 100 degrees. And the cooler temperatures will delay the Marine-Tex setting up, so I can't use it anymore. What we're trying to do, well, I should say, what has happened to the centerboard is when it's been used in the boat, there's been wear up here at this point, and it's worn off the fiberglass, which I have gone ahead and broken away and sanded down the edge. Then, where the rotten wood was, I've cleaned it out using a chisel. Then I've drilled holes in the area I cleaned out to help the Marine-Tex hold on to the wood. So I've got to do that on this side, and I've also got to do it on the other side, which means I'm pushing from both sides in order to fill this crack and fill the area out here between to build that up. In order to make that work, I'm going to attach a backing board when I go to the second side, and that will allow me to push against the Marine-Tex I've already installed. And I'm going to leave some gap here between the backing board and the centerboard, so I've got plenty of room there to push in the Marine-Tex and have it be higher than my final surface so I can sand it down. And I wanted to point out to you too, notice that the backing board has wax paper on it. And that's my attempt to keep the Marine-Tex from sticking on the board, on the backing board when it's in place. So we'll start on the other side, which is the smaller side. And what I'm using today is Marine-Tex Gray. I've chosen gray because I think it'll show up less underneath the fiberglass, less than the white wood. So let's get out the parts. Here are the directions, which I've already read. This is the resin in the larger can. This is the catalyst, which is in a smaller bottle. I have a large piece of cardboard to mix on. And before I do this, I'm going to get myself safe by putting on goggles. I'm sure you noticed I already have on gloves. Let's open this can up and get started. Once I mix these two together, the resin and the catalyst, the clock begins running. By that I mean I only have a certain amount of time until it sets up. So I'm going to feel a lot of time pressure once I get these mixed. I have heard that one of the biggest problems with working with epoxies is that if you don't mix them really well, it's a source of trouble. So I'm going to make a point to really mix the catalyst into the resin. As you can see, it's very putty-like and very sticky and very hard to get out of the can. I am going to try to empty the can so I can empty all the catalyst into the resin. There's still a lot to go. This, by the way, is the 14-ounce can, because I'm hoping that's enough to do my job. Still a lot in here. Well, I may need it all, so I want to get it all out. I guess I better get a cleaner popsicle stick. This one's going to get messy on me. And I'll try to control the mess. This is taking longer than I thought. But that's something you get to learn. I've only gotten about half of it out. Looks like it's about a peanut butter consistency. Next stick, please. I'm getting there. I can see the bottom now. Like I said, I want to get as much out as I can. I'm afraid I'm going to need it all in order to get this job completely done. Well, I'm not going to try to lick it clean, but I think I've gotten most of the chunks out. I'm going to call that done. Okay, here we go. Let's add in the catalyst. Looks like it might pour. That would be useful. Nope, too slow. Well, this is coming out better than the resin did.
Sort of like honey consistency.
Looks like honey, doesn't it? About the honey consistency. Maybe a little bit thicker. I think that's enough. All right, here we go. Let's mix this stuff up. Save that one. Let me use another stick to scrape this one clean. They're very thick. It's going to be very hard to get them mixed real well. I can see that already. But with the addition of the catalyst, it's going to be runnier than the resin was alone. I can see that too. Yeah, this is going to be runnier than I expected. It's changing from peanut butter to, well, more like honey or ketchup. colors aren't as different as I'm used to seeing between catalyst and resin. When the colors are different, it makes it a lot easier to know that you've gotten it mixed. These are so similar, it's really hard to tell. Okay, I'm intentionally starting to spread it out because, like other epoxies, it will cure, I should say it will set up slower if it's spread out thinner. The more it's stacked up, the faster it will set up. So I'm trying to spread it out some. Okay, I'm going to call it enough. I hope it is. Alright, let's go over and put some on the wood. First thing I'm going to do is fill in the crack between the two halves that I've had to work with here. It made a major crack down through the center of the area. Now see, look at this. This is so much runnier than I expected. Remember, anything that's too much or that I don't want, like these stringers over here, I'm going to have to sand off. I have to make sure that I cover the top surfaces here on this side because I won't be able to reach them from the other side. They'll be underneath when I'm on the other side. Make sure I've gotten the edges real well. Now I've got to see if I can fill in the center. See if I can scrape it off with a different one. Okay, it's starting to build up. It's looking pretty good. Let me kind of compare the level using a stick. It needs a little more out in the center. Probably because it's drooping. Yes, it is drooping. So that means once I flip it over, it's going to droop back. That'll help fill up this center. But I want to put a little more in there. To make sure there's plenty. Yeah, it's really starting to run. It's a lot softer and runnier than I expected. Okay, I think that's more than enough on that side. We are ready to flip it over and do the other side. Okay, now let's put the backing board on. Keep this stuff from falling away. Here's my backing board that I built. I've covered it with wax paper, hopefully to keep the Marine-Tex from sticking to it on the bottom side. Alright, it looks about like I expected, except a little runnier. Locate the backing board on it. Yep. If you notice, I'm trying to leave a little gap between the backing board and the edge of the centerboard, so I can force some of the putty in there, and it will help build up that edge for me. Now let me clamp on the backing board. That will keep the other side from drooling away. It'll help force it to be flat, which hopefully will save me some time when I'm sanding. Okay, backing board's on. Hopefully that will control the other side. Now I can fill in this side. Let me get these guys out of the way. I've got one here I can use. Alright, we'll start with filling in the crack again. This time it should reach through to the putty I put in from the other side and join up. Yep, I can see them sticking together. It's meeting the putty from the other side. That's good. That'll strengthen it to have that straight through the crack. Now I'm going to fill up the holes Well, I gotta admit, filling the holes is a lot easier with this really runny putty. I thought I was going to be forcing it in more because it'd be a lot stiffer. But this is going to droop into the holes real easily. Well, the putty seems to be staying pretty juicy for me. I don't think it's trying to set up yet. So that's a relief. I was afraid I'd be fighting putty that was trying to get hard on me. But this is quite the opposite of getting too hard. Okay, now I'm going to fill in up here where the backing board is creating an edge. The top edge of the centerboard, I've got to fill in that area. You got a good shot of that?
Mm-hmm. Trying to get more light.
Well, I'm going to have plenty of extra to sand off, that's clear. There's going to be no shortage of putty to sand. Trying to make sure it fills in all the way to the edges. This is looking good though. Like I say, I've got to build up inside there in order to create that edge I'm going to need on the top side of the centerboard. So I'm trying to get some putty into that area. If I can get it to fall off the stick, it certainly flows down into the hole well. Like I said, it's a lot runnier than I expected. In this case, though, it's helpful. I think I'm getting there. Okay, I think I've filled in enough there to create that top edge of the board. I've filled in the holes. I need to do a little more filling up to the edge. I can see some edge showing up, like over here. I want to make sure that's all filled up. All right, I think I'm getting there. A little bit of edge down here showing. Okay. Don't see any more edge showing. So I just need to pile it up in the center and fill up that center. I want to pile it up nice and high, so I have to sand it down to the level of the centerboard. And it's do a certain amount of flattening on its own, so that's good. I really don't want it to look like frosting with a whole bunch of peaks on it that I have to sand down. Yeah, this is going real well. Looks like this 14 ounces is going to be enough, but not a whole lot too much. Now I'm planning on this being part one of this project. This video, I mean, will be part one, the application. I'm planning on shooting 2 other videos. Part 2 will be when I take off the backing board and show what it looks like all cured, but where you can see both sides with no backing board. Part 3 will be after I've sanded it down to its final shape. And I'll provide links to the other parts in the description. I think I'm getting there. Looks like a lot to sand. But it's better than too little, which I was worried about. All right. Let me get a level stick to see if I'm doing pretty good on my level. Okay, I'm comparing this to the surface of the centerboard to see if I'm definitely above that surface, so I can sand down to that surface. And it's looking, I think I need a little more on this side. I think there's a low place over here, right over here. Well, that's not a low place anymore. I'm running out of things to do. Okay, I'm going to call that done. I got it all filled up. The 14 ounces did it. I've got a little bit left over, but not a lot. And I look forward to seeing it sanded. Don't you? Until then, Bye-bye.